Hello, this is the second video in a series of 5 that supports the Blackboard lab on building a CMS, which is this one here. So building a content management system, PHP, MySQL part 2. So previously what we'd done is we'd built we'd looked at sanitizing and validating data, and we had an index page that was querying the database, making sure that the film name was nice and safe before we ran it against the query, so that you had a page like this one here, so you could search for the likes of star and get a list of results. Now what I want to do next, before we get into the other side of the content management system, is look at how when we click on how we can enable it so that when we click on these we can drill deeper and get more information about the particular films that we've found as a result of the search that we've done. So in the PDF I'm interested in this section here, drilling deeper using query strings. So effectively in the index page at the moment we are looping through and we're just outputting the name of the film and the certificate of the film and a nicely formatted display date. You can see in a previous movie how the display date was created there related to Unix timestamps. But I want to make this a hyperlink, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an anchor tag around it like so, and then I want the href of this to link to a page called details. Now if I just have it linked to details PHP like so, I want to write nice HTML with my attributes in quotes, but because I'm echoing this it's going to cause a problem. Let's show you what would happen if I left it like that. It's going to not like that. You see we had a syntax error. It's giving me a reference to line 74 there, which is the one I'm editing, and it's because that quote PHP wants to match with that quote. It thinks I've finished echoing and it's expecting a semicolon and then another valid statement. But what I want is a quote to wrap around my attribute in HTML, so I need to escape it, which is what this backslash is going to do here. So escape that quote and then escape that quote. Right, so let's show you that use of the escape characters will fix that for me. So now it's listing all of these. You can see these are all hyperlinks. Now if I right click and inspect, the problem is they're all going to the same page, they're all going to the details page, but I want to tell that details page to display different information related to the film that I've clicked on. So this is where I need to use a query string. So do have a look at the video that was done on query strings on super globals post and get if you're unsure about what I'm doing here, because what I'm going to do is put a question mark after the file extension and then type film ID equals, and then I'm going to drop in the film ID value from the database. So that's the film ID for the particular film that it happens to be looping around. Right, let's show you what that should have done now to the output. So I'll just go back, refresh that page. So these are all still hyperlinks, but notice the fault in the stars there is picking up number 39. If I looked at this Star Wars one, it's 47. Got another Star Wars one there. Let's inspect that. You can see that's 56. So they've all got different numbers now that have been passed. These numbers being the primary keys for the particular film IDs. So you've got a name and then a value that's been sent as a query string to this details page. And so each of these is now a unique link with a different value. So if I click on A Star Is Born, it takes me to this details page, which currently is giving me some errors. So let's have a look at what we can do to the details page to fix that up. So in the details page, I got a query. So if I've got a query, I'm going to need to load in my connection file and my functions as we did in the preceding movie to this. So let's load in from our includes our connection, and I'm also going to want to load in my functions file. In the previous movie we built some functions in here to help us sanitizing and validating strings, and we're going to need this safe int one in a second. It is referenced in the code, or it will be referenced in the code in a second. So let's load that in. So we've got includes functions.inc.php. So load those two includes in. Let's have a look now at what the page is doing with those two includes now in place. So I've refreshed this. Now you can see it looks slightly different. It's trying to render the page, but we're getting a lot of notices here. PHP notices references to a non-object. Now I can see the value of 57 has been sent in as a query string. So what's the problem here? Well, the problem being is I've deliberately set this up to trip you up because it's using post and not get. If we want to get a value from a query string, we must use get. So let's change that to get. So it's going to go and get that film ID value from the query string. So now hopefully we should have a more meaningful response. And there we go, we can see it's retrieving now the information from A Star Is Born. It's using it in the title and here in the text and the date and the price, etc. So that's working great. Now let's tidy this up a little bit though, because we have got all these nice little functions here. So it might be nice if what we do is we create a variable called safe, S for safe film ID, and we set this equal to safe int. So I'm using my little helper function I created here, and we feed into that our value that we've got from the query string. So we know that this is definitely going to be an integer now. So let's take that, copy that, and then let's use that down here as the value that we bind in to our query. Just gives us another level of reassurance that what we're dealing with here is an integer, because obviously the primary key is an integer. So that value is definitely going to be an integer, or it's going to be false, and then it's going to run against the query. Now, so if that's a valid value, if it's one within range in our database, we're going to get a valid output. So let's just try that again. So we're not going to see a huge amount of difference here. We've just tidied things up a little bit security wise. So you see, if you refresh, it's going to make no difference. I'll just prove it's still working on other files. It is. So, but we're just making sure that what we're dealing with there is an integer. If it wasn't, it's going to fail. Now it doesn't fail very elegantly there, and also if we had a number that was an integer and was out of range, I've only got 60 films, so that's going to fail as well. So we need to handle that to improve the user experience. Now we've already using row count. Again, this was seen in a previous movie, and this is going to tell us how many results we've got from our query. If you're querying by the primary key, we should just expect one result back. So what I could do here, hints, is we could add a little bit of conditional logic. So we could say if total number of films is equal to 0. So if you've not got any films, let's redirect you. So we'll use the PHP header method to change the HTTP header to be location, and then to go to a different location. And I've got a file set up called notfound.php, which will give our users an elegant message. So if the film isn't in range, or if it's not an integer, if it's for some reason someone follows a link which hasn't got a appropriate value in, they'll get bounced, they'll get redirected to that location there. So let's test that out now. So we've got an invalid value and it bounces me to not found. But if I was using any of the other values that we've got in the list, you can see that's film 9. It's giving me this value here. Now the great thing about these details pages, as long as the film is in range, I'm going to get the film information. So I've got 60 films in the database, so all 60 of them, that's right, are going to get displayed. Just depends on which value you send. So this is a great, really handy page because we can edit this, make changes. We know it's going to work for all the films in our database, so it's dead handy this. Let's just show you some of the functionality we've got in there. So for example, we've got the film name being dynamically added to the title. We've got the film name and the film certificate appearing here. So there's the title up there. And then we've got a little output here with a price and description. Let's add the image in as well. So in the PDF you'll find a little code snippet to help you here, which is this one here. So it's using the same idea of the escape characters. So notice that I would want my href value for the image to appear inside a quote. So this is escaping that quote, so it doesn't pair with that one. Film image we're getting from our query because we've done a select star, give me everything. So we should now see the film image displayed, which we don't. Maybe I've not got one for Joker. Let's try another one. There's Tropic Thunder, so that's fine. I've just must be missing some of the more newer films. So we can see that being displayed there. If I inspect, you see that's that quote, because I want the image name, the source of the image to appear in quotes. So let's extend this a little bit further, because when you're displaying images like that, you should really have an alternate text. Now I've got the same issue here because this I'd like to put in quotes, so there'll be some text inside of there, but I need to escape those again. So let's do backslash, and that would be the name of the film inside of there. Now obviously I want that to be a dynamic value, so I could just use our row film name, because that's the dynamic film name value from the database, and we can add that in as an alt. We could maybe even put cover, cover for, and then it will say the name of the film. Right, so let's try that now across on the server. So refresh, see it says cover for Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Let's try another one. So there we go. Cover for Oh Brother Where Art Thou. So we can take the name of the film and we can use that in our alt for the image. Okay, thank you.